Hello, everyone. I'm excited today to show you how you can sync Snowflake and HubSpot. Today we are with the Stacksync team, and Ruben and Alexis, our two co-founders and our C-level executives, are going to show you how you can sync your CRM with your data warehouse. Welcome to everyone.
Thank you for hosting, Nacho. Very excited to be here and showcase today what we're building at Stacksync. Very excited.
Hey Nacho, thanks for hosting.
Awesome. I don't know if you can tell us, Ruben, a little bit more about two-way sync, bidirectional sync, why it's important, and how critical is it to do it in the business.
So actually, every company, which has different operations has CRM and also system which correlates around it. For example, let's say data warehouse, a database, right? So you build your app on your database, your analytics and the metrics on a data warehouse. You also build, your entire business knowledge and processes on top of your CRM. And so it's very hard for companies to integrate the systems together, right? And so Stacksync really here innovates by providing a real-time and two-way sync across your different systems. Why it's very hard is because, HubSpot has a very, very complex API. Every type of object, has a different way to access it, authentication, rotating API keys. You have also different type of APIs basically makes it's very hard for developers and engineers to actually build 100% reliable production grade sync, especially when you work with scalable data. And so Stacksync here just comes in and actually tries to actually really fix this pain by delivering you fresh and real-time data into the system you already know, love, and use every day, which is your database and your data warehouse.
Super exciting. I'm really curious about you were mentioning there's a lot of API mess between the CRMs, HubSpot especially. How Stacksync manages this internally, the changes, the objects that change over time. How does Stacksync do it?
So basically, Stacksync really aims to, as Ruben said, to provide this consistency and this reliability because the HubSpot API is very unreliable. Just to give you an idea, we need 5 different concurrent processes to make sure we always have the latest HubSpot data. Just making a single API call regularly doesn't work because for some type of events they are missed. Some type of events take too long to be processed, and so you need a combination of processes to read them. Sometimes the event is committed. You committed the right to HubSpot, but it's not yet available when you try to query it using the search API. So it's really this unreliability that is inherent to HubSpot that Stacksync helps fixing. So and this is for a single object. Then you need to do that for every single object because they are all using a different standards. And so with Stacksync, you just have a unified way of syncing all these HubSpot objects directly into your Snowflake.
Absolutely.
It will be amazing. We can showcase this to the audience. How can we simplify that process of syncing? So I don't know, Ruben, you can share your screen, please.
Absolutely. So here, guys, I'm going to actually show you exactly how to create a bidirectional sync. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you can actually see my screen right now, actually, within the next few seconds. Let me show you.
Yeah,
actually,
Alexis was mentioning it's pretty important to manage this at scale, right? Enterprise grade production. So if the data goes there is a delay on the data, it can cause a lot of business problems exactly. And problems on the real world, not only the digital world. So yeah, it makes total sense.
Absolutely. So here, guys, actually, I think you can see my screen right now. So I am here in the Stacksync interface where I can create my syncs, right? So actually, I have a CRM, a HubSpot CRM, which you guys know very well. And I also have my Snowflake instance, right? Where I have my entire business data, which is, just living and breathing. here I'm gonna actually try to synchronize these two systems together, and I'm gonna do it very fast, within the Stacksync interface. So the first step to create a sync is actually to click on the Create Sync button and to select which apps do I actually want to sync. So here, for example, I will want to create to synchronize my HubSpot. So here it's gonna be very easy to just connect. I'm just gonna create a new connection, extremely fast. I'm just gonna connect Stacksync demo, and now Stacksync will actually synchronize, scan your entire CRM and suggest to you all the syncs, all the objects that you will want to sync. So that's the first step of every app. So now I'm going to connect my HubSpot here first, and then I'm going to connect my Snowflake. So here it takes a couple of seconds to scan everything, because Stacksync scans your entire standard and custom objects. So it should be just ready.
Right now, every single object schema is being generated for you.
Exactly.
You don't need to do that manually for each object. We also have association, like UpDB, like there's a variety of different objects in HubSpot. So that's why it takes time.
Absolutely. And so here now, actually, I'm going to do the same thing for Snowflake, but actually here I want to illustrate how you can actually use pre-configured connections. So here, instead of actually writing all my credentials, I will just do the following. I will just use a pre-configured connection. So that's about it, And now Snowflake, we scan the entire Snowflake as well, and yeah, your entire data will actually be scanned again. So I'm gonna discover my entire Snowflake with every object which I have access to.
Super interesting. Can you explain us a little bit more about the secure connection options we have inside Stacksync?
Yeah, thanks, Nacho. Yeah, right now we connected to HubSpot using OAuth, which is the standard protocol for most SaaS tools. Basically, you have access token, refresh token, industry standards for business apps. And for Snowflake, as you see, it was like we had the RSA key, basically, right, being displayed. This is how we connect, basically, using the RSA key with Snowflake, which is a standard for Snowflake. And currently, so it was HubSpot and Snowflake, which are easily accessible. But let's say, for example, for Postgres or for other systems that might be behind the VPC, you might need a jump box, a VPN, a transit gateway, all these protocols, and Stacksync support all of them, so that when we have the customers that come, they can use the security standards that are used to work with on a daily basis, so that your team is used to work with, know how to use it, and you are sure there's no problem with here, it's fast, no security issues. We just connect securely to a virtual private network, and that's it.
Yeah, and the key here is really to understand, that. So security, so Stacksync proposes SSL, SSH, IP waitlisting, any kind of authentication option that really your team currently uses. So it fits the current ways you are used to connect securely across a wide variety of systems. So it's exactly the protocol that your team uses. You do not need to actually learn new ones. This is really the key here. And so now actually that I have connected, my two apps, I can go to the second steps of the sync. And the second step is to actually choose which tables we want to sync. And so here, for example, I have my HubSpot, I have my Snowflake, and I can see that Stacksync suggests to me, all the HubSpot objects, including the standard object, the custom object, the property history, basically the history of every modifications made to one property in a record in HubSpot, as well as also associations, right? For example, association, contact, and company. Stacksync can synchronize, every field in a one way or the other way, but Stacksync today, we're going to demo how two-way sync works, because this is, really the full power of the tool. Stacksync can eventually, sync your data to an existing table. So if you have an existing schema that you want to use, that's how it works. But Stacksync can also create a new table for you. So for example, here in my Snowflake, if I share my Snowflake, I do not have any table which is which is prepared to actually welcome, which is configured to welcome this data from Snowflake, from HubSpot. So I will just let Stacksync create a new table for me with the perfect data types, with the perfect column names and schema. So everything will be handled for me. Here, I've selected to synchronize the contacts and the companies. And the third step now actually will be to select for every table that we have selected, select the field that we want to sync. For example, here I can see a list of fields, and I have like many other fields. For example, here I choose a first conversion date, or like follower count,
Sorry to interrupt, Ruben. We still see your Snowflake. Okay. No.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So actually here I have okay. So basically I just went back to so here I selected like the contacts and the companies, and now I'm gonna actually go to the second step, which is map the fields. So and what happens here is that Stacksync will show me all the fields for every table which I've selected, so contacts and companies, all the fields which I can sync. For example, let's say if created date, or like, for example, days to close actually is not a field which is relevant to me, I'm just gonna not sync it. And I can see all the fields, and I have like many. Here I have like, there are hundreds of them, and so here Stacksync, and only selects the main ones by default as a preset.
There's a question we are asked a lot about, like pricing. In like as we see here, like we can have thousands of fields in HubSpot, but we only charge per row, right?
Yeah. So pricing actually works per synced record, so per data volume that you sync. So no matter what, no matter if you have like one field synced or like thousands of fields synced, so actually you synchronize every field available in your CRM or your database. One record will still count one record. So you do not need to actually pay additional if you have additional fields. So you can really have the entire scope of your data present into your database and your CRM. So here is very important because sometimes for compliance, you might not want to sync a field. For example, let's say address, it's not a field you're authorized to share for the scope of your sync. So you just decide not to sync it. And this is exactly where Stacksync really empowers you to synchronize everything, or to synchronize only a partial piece of your data.
That's awesome. That's
perfect.
Awesome.
And now that I've actually configured my sync, I'm just going to create my sync, and now basically my sync is going to be created. So now Stacksync will first go into my Snowflake, create my tables, and start populating it with some fresh data. So here actually, if I go into my so here my sync should actually create within a few seconds. And if I actually just switch on the sync, basically I'm just going to go into my Snowflake. I'm going to refresh, and here I can see I have contacts and companies, right? So this is like the HubSpot data. So now if I just open one of them, alrighty. So actually I'm going to share my, okay, so here I have contacts and companies, which actually just appeared. So if I go into if I open the table for contacts and I go to the data preview, I can see my data is already in there, and I have 32 contacts. So now if I go into my HubSpot, yeah, I actually do have 32 records too, right? So this is exactly how Stacksync really works, and now it's extremely fast.
Ruben, I would like you to ask you how can we see the stats of our sync? Like, is there a way like we can really see in detail what's happening under the hood? What's happening in the sync stats?
Absolutely. So if I go back to my Stacksync interface and I go into and I open my sync configuration, I can see here that actually I have like a sync stats section where I can see exactly how many records are synced for each table. So here I can see 5 companies, 32 contacts. If I refresh the sync stats, basically I'm going to see how many also records are processing. So here everything has been synced, but here you can see how many records are being synced currently, how many are in flight, to speak. and you also have the number of issues which are in your table and the number of protected records. Actually, you can see like all different kind of stats related to your sync. The most important are these ones. So you can see 5 companies, 32 contacts on both sides, which is actually what we have. 32 contacts in a HubSpot and 32 contacts in Snowflake. Exactly. So here I really want to show you actually how the sync really works. So here, if I go into my Stacksync into my HubSpot, I can actually create a new contact, right? So here I'm going to create a contact called Ruben222@stacksync.com, and here I'm going to name it like Ruben and Burdin. Okay, and I'm going to name it Ruben. Ruben something, right? So actually, I'm going to make a typo, for example, right? Now I'm going to create my contact. So my contact has been created in HubSpot. So
your screen is again blocked. I still see Snowflake.
Okay. Snowflake, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, so here basically I just created a new contact here called Ruben something, Burdin, and Ruben22stacksync.com. So this is where I have my record, and now I have 33. Now if I head back to my Snowflake, so now you see my Snowflake screen. If I just refresh, right? Actually, I'm gonna refresh the table. Sorry. Here I see 33, and I have Ruben22, right? So actually, in a matter of 1 second or even milliseconds, this synced, right? So this is exactly what happens. So do you have any questions so far, guys? Like for the HubSpot to Snowflake sync part?
Because so fast I didn't see the record coming.
Yeah, we didn't see the record, but like we will. I would like to emphasize a little bit more, and if you can give us a more deeply technical explanation on why we are more biased to do this very, very fast two-way sync. Why did we manage our architecture or like to make it like really, really fast?
Okay. Well, Alexis, maybe that's also for you how the architecture really works under the hood.
Yeah. Basically, why we made it fast, and there are 2 questions here. How can we manage to make it fast, and why we made it fast? So let's first about the why. Currently, most of the tools you can do using batch loading every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, every 1 hour. But this is great for analytical purposes. You just need to do some aggregation and machine learning. But now, let's say you need to take action on the event. That's the point. Like a real event in the outside world, you need real time because you need to take a chain of action and maybe across different systems. And that's why you use Stacksync for operational use cases. So this is the first point. Now about how come we managed to make it that fast and why it's not common to see something that fast. So because Stacksync is really built for real time, everything about Stacksync is meant for real time. In the way we read, the API, internally how we process the data, and even if you scale, it's still real time. And this is something I would like to highlight. Because let's say someone say, oh yeah, I'm using HubSpot webhooks, right? It's real time. Let's try to update like millions of records or just thousands of records with webhooks. First, not all webhooks will arrive because it's not reliable. And then they will be really delayed. Some will arrive like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away. And it's like some of our customers like face this before joining Stacksync. So the fact to be really like real time, even at high scale, is very important.
100%. And so here to go back basically on the second part of what we want to build, right, is that here I've made some modification in HubSpot, which has propagated within milliseconds to Snowflake, and I actually want to see also the contrary, the reverse. So now basically I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna make a query here, which I started to prepare. So update my CRM, my contacts table with and I'm gonna update my name. So Ruben, new name. And actually where the contact ID equals something. So actually I'm going to go back to my table. I'm going to go, okay, Ruben, I'm going to copy this ID, very easy. And I'm going to go back to my query. I'm going to execute the query. So name actually, its wrong name, it's first name actually. So I'm going to change it to first name. I'm going to execute the query. contact ID. Okay, I think it's like also ID here. Okay, I've just made this very on the fly. Okay, so now actually I've modified my record. So if I go back to my Snowflake, I can see here I have updated my Ruben new name. I can see Ruben new name, and now if I go back into my my HubSpot, actually here it did change already. So it did change Ruben new name already. So actually it was very fast. So it really changed before we came back here.
Faster than HubSpot UI.
Actually, yeah, actually it's like even the UI is not loading that fast. Actually, exactly. So Ruben new name, and here we have like exactly this this sync, right? So now I can make modification on both sides, on any sides, and this is what you can see. Like this works at any scale, at any number of records.
Yeah, because something to highlight also is that the HubSpot API is very small batch sizes. It's like at most 100 records at a time that you can read or write. You don't have like in Salesforce or other enterprise systems a bulk APIs that can process 10K of records. So a common problem companies fail when they scale, when they reach like millions of contacts, which is not that high when you think about it. It's how can you like still manage to have access to all this data if you can only make API calls that are 100 records at a time? It's become very complex, right? So the fact that you can have all your data available in your Postgres or your Snowflake in real time constantly is a game changer for companies. It gives you back access and ownership on your data. Otherwise, you need to really make a bunch of API calls to try to estimate things. Is very cumbersome.
Super interesting. And like, what happened when there is a sync issue or something like, for example, there is a mistype on one of the CRM side or maybe in the data warehouse side? What happens? What is Stacksync does to resolve those conflicts?
Yeah, so actually that's a very good question. So imagine yourself, you're actually into your Snowflake and you're typing a wrong phone number, right? The phone number, which has, or an email which is stacksync.com, instead of .com with an N at the end. And so what's going to happen, actually, you're going to try to synchronize this email to HubSpot, but HubSpot will tell you, this email is invalid, so you will not be able to actually insert the record. In a normal setup, actually, where stacking is not in use, where you just custom code, this actually, the record would just silently fail, or you would have to fix this manually, right? And so instead, so your record with Stacksync will be into your Snowflake, but actually it will not populate back to HubSpot because HubSpot will refuse it. So Stacksync will display this issue into an issues dashboard, where you can actually be able to have a full detail with a full error message of the issue, including some very fast, quick actions. For example, retrying to sync, reverting the modification that you have made, which was erroneous, etc. And especially, what's more important is that this issue you will also be alerted in real time about this issue, so you can take action immediately and actually guarantee stronger SLAs to your data teams, to your stakeholders, to your executives if you make dashboards, etc. So actually, this enables you to really, you will never have to handle silent failures anymore. Everything will be into the dashboard, and you will be able to take action easily in real time, extremely fast. So stronger SLAs for your teams, and just less search and comparison, diffing of tables to actually find where the issue was.
Excellent. Can you show us the sync issues dashboard on the Stacksync app so we can show the public how is it done?
Absolutely. So actually, I do not have an issue here, unfortunately. So I won't be able to show exactly. So here, actually, we have a sync issue. I'm going to try to actually make the sync issue happen right now. So I'm going to go to my Snowflake and I'm going to modify the ID. Set ID equal Ruben new name, for example, or just fake ID. Actually, it's going to be it's an integer, so it won't work. Where ID equals this, right? So actually, I'm just going to try to make this modification. So now I have actually modified. Here I'm losing my tabs. So here we should be able to see that I have, Ruben has a different ID now. And now actually, if I go into my issues table and refresh the table, I should see
Cannot
9
the
seconds
screen.
ago. So
We
okay.
cannot see your screen, Ruben.
Exactly here. So when actually so now I go to my Stacksync, I refresh, and here I
You are
can see
not
9
showing your
seconds
screen.
ago. At all?
Apparently, at least I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Can you see it, Nacho?
No, I cannot see it.
Can you see it now, guys?
Okay, we can see it now.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. So here basically we have like an issue which is like, okay, 32 seconds ago, we have the following columns are not writable. And here I can have more details. So I can have like, okay, so I know this ID is not writable. I have, the ID of the record on both systems to actually identify and go troubleshoot manually if needed. I know it's an update record operation, and I actually have the data. Okay, I know ID cannot be modified. So now I understand why. So Stacksync can actually just let you retry to sync or revert the change, right? Or just ignore the issue. So here, if I click revert the change, Stacksync will actually go into your Snowflake, cherry pick that value. So here I'm gonna go. Can you see my Snowflake screen now?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be refresh here. And now I can see that Ruben has back an ID which is normal given by HubSpot. And if I go back to my Stacksync tab, actually I see that there are no more issues. So the issue has been resolved, that's removed from my dashboard, and my data is back in full consistent state. So I didn't have to go and troubleshoot anything. I didn't have to deep dive into any log. I just went to my Stacksync issues, and actually I received an email. I don't know, you guys probably didn't hear, but I received an email on my mailbox actually about this issue, which happened in real time.
It's great stuff. And something that is very interesting here and very important to understand is that these systems it's two different systems, and you have plenty of business rules in your CRM or your ERPs that you cannot put into your Snowflake. And these rules keep changing, right, as your business evolves. So you will never be able to maintain the rules between the two systems. So we will always have the possibility of having such sync issues. So that's why it's very important to build such like a security system, like a safety systems, where you don't have any silent issues and you keep track of everything. Otherwise, what would be happening, and we see like for every new customers that come, like the sales team or marketing team contacts the head of the data team. I think why is this like contact or lead not present in the CRM or which? So the head of the data team has the engineering team that then go check the log, etc. And then you come back 3 hours, okay, it's fixed. While here in Stacksync, like it's immediate. Like in 5 minutes, we identify the issue, fix it, boom. The sales team or marketing team did not even have the time to see that there was like a lag or a delay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
Excellent. For the last section, we would like to see how can we safely resume a sync. For example, if we pause a sync for a while because we need to do some maintenance and we want to resume the sync after that. How can we do it? How Stacksync manages to do it like safely without losing data? And that's a question like a lot of customers asked us before joining Stacksync.
Absolutely. So eventually, what's very important to understand here is that when Stacksync, when basically like your credentials for a certain system get revoked. For example, the person who authorized Salesforce access to Salesforce got fired, so their credential also got revoked. Or maybe you inadvertently you change the password of the Stacksync user into your database, right? Or like your network, network, it just changed. So what happens is that Stacksync will just pause your sync automatically, and actually once your system come back up, Stacksync will resume the sync automatically, and you will not have to actually handle any of any backfilling or anything. Everything will be done automatically, and so Stacksync will catch up every changes which happen since the last time your sync was on. So everything which happened in the meantime, where you had maybe a maintenance window or like an outage on your system, Stacksync will just catch up everything which just happened in between. And so here, if you ask me exactly how to do it, I just go into my Stacksync dashboard, and I can just see here, my sync is syncing, my sync is currently syncing. So actually, I can just switch off. I can do my maintenance. And then I can switch back on. And Stacksync will also manage it automatically if one of my system is down for an outage or for any other reason. So this is extremely easy. extremely easy. And now, I can actually just switch it on again. So that's how easy it is to actually enter into your system maintenance. You don't need to actually think about any migration or, queuing or keeping streaming your events from here to there. Stacksync will just take care of everything.
This is awesome. So in this demo, we saw how can we set up a two-way sync between your data warehouse and HubSpot. And we can do this with many other apps too, that we are going to show in other webinars. How all the secure options we already have, the objects that we're supporting, both custom and like all the HubSpot objects that are currently supported, the sync stats dashboard and the sync issues and how to manage them, and how Stacksync manages the safely resume for maintenance or for other issues that you may have inside your data team. So thank you so much, guys, for this deep dive on how the platform works. I don't know if you want to add a little more context or something you would like to add for the end of the webinar.
No, I think for me it's totally great. I mean, like actually we could demo like everything, which is like the very basics to actually get started very fast. So Stacksync also works not only with HubSpot and Snowflake as we demo today, but also with Salesforce, Zoho, NetSuite, MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, BigQuery, you name it. And so our next webinar, our next series of webinar will actually also include demoing these systems and also going deep dive into the issue resolution process, into simulating, an outage on your system and showing how the system will resume automatically, etc. So stay tuned for future webinars. And thank you so much for hosting, Nacho.
Thanks for hosting, Nacho.
Awesome. So to close the webinar, I see that we don't have any question right now. So feel free to ping us on any channel we have, on LinkedIn or email that we're going to show right now on our web page too. So feel free to ask whatever question you have for your specific business, and we are going to match you with a specific cloud architect that is going to help you drive the business solutions for your team. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you again, Ruben and Alexis, for this amazing time. Awesome.
See you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day,
Thank you.